Okay? Now, what I'm going to do, inshallah, for the brothers whose eyes are heavy, right? I'm going to start calling on you. Barakallahu feekum. See the brother right there? MashaAllah. I ain't going to call your name because I don't know it. I don't remember you. Barakallahu feek. You know what we're talking about, right? Malish. We're talking about breaking the fast, inshallah. You know, this is what we do in LA, man. When the brothers sleep, you call them, put them on. They don't even know it for the rest of the class. Barakallahu feekum. Hey, the Shaykh says also, the reason for this position is the hadith of Asma, the daughter of Abi Bakr. She said, well, he actually just mentions the event that occurred. كانوا يظنون غروب الشمس. They thought that the sun had gone down. Okay? Now, ثم طلعت. Now, in this case, I want to make a note that they were more certain than not. To them, during this particular event, there was غالب الظن. More certainty than doubt. And because of that, they stopped fasting. It was overcast. And they were more certain than not that, look, the sun is down. So they break the fast. All right? And then after that, the sun came up. This was during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Okay? This particular narration, I'm going to say something about. I'm going to actually read the text in Bukhari. And Asma bint Abi Bakr رضي الله عنهما قالت أفطرنا على عهد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. We break our fast. We actually stopped fasting during the time of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. يوم غيم. It was overcast. On a day when it was overcast. ثم طلعت الشمس. And then the sun came out. They were not commanded to make up that day. They were not commanded to make up that day. All right? Now, this particular case where you actually act upon more certainty than not, it's a different situation than when you're just simply doubtful and you're going to act. And the Shaykh is going to point that out. He says here, this was at the ending part of the day. All right? This was at the ending part of the day. And they stopped fasting because they were more certain than not that the sun was down. So at the beginning of the day, you have more concession because the principle is there that you're allowed to eat until you're sure. This is how the Shaykh deals with it. He says, فَأَوَّلُهُ مِنْ بَابِ الْأَوْلَى لِأَنَّ أَوَّلُهُ مَأْذُونٌ لَهُ فِي الْأَكْلِ وَالشُّرْبِ حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَهُ الْفَجْرِ. So the first part of the day, you're allowed to eat, drink. Well, let me not put it like that. You're simply allowed to eat and drink, all right, until you're certain that that time is gone. And it's not the sunnah for you to, out of caution, stop half an hour ahead of time. That practice that has become a part of the Muslim community is not based on the text. Out of caution, you're going to stop 30 minutes ahead of time from which you know, which you're more certain of, that the time of Fajr is. That is not based on the Sunnah. You saw what Ibn Abbas used to do, right? And he eat until there was no doubt. And this was actually based on what he understood from being with the Prophet ﷺ. Shaykh Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala, he goes on, and we're going to see how easy it is for the people if they adhere to the principles found in the Quran and the Sunnah. Shaykh Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, هذه المسألة لها خمسة أقسام. This particular principle, it has actually 5 different subdivisions. He says, first, أن يتيقن أن الفجر لم يطلع. 2, لم يطلع, that you're certain that the dawn has not come in. The true dawn is not in. Okay? He says, for example, the true dawn is at, he says here, 5 in the morning. Okay, الساعة الخامسة. And his eating and drinking is at 4:30. He stops. He said, this person here, فَصَوْمُهُ صَحِيح. His fast is sound. No doubt about that. All right? He says the second condition, a person is sure that the true dawn is in. All right? And he says, like the person who ate in the previous example at 5:30. Now he knows Fajr comes in at 5 o'clock. 5:30 he decides, look, I'm going to give me something to eat. The Sheikh says, for Sawmuhu Fasid, his fasting is invalid. The third circumstance is a person أن يأكل وهو شاك هل طلع الفجر أو لا. This third situation, the person is doubtful as to whether or not the true dawn is in or not. Okay? Or not. وَيَغْلِبْ عَلَى ظَنِّهِ أَنَّهُ لَمْ يَطْلُعْ. But he is more certain than not that it has not come in. That is the true dawn. The Shaykh says, the person who eats in this case, فَصَوْمُهُ صَحِيح, his fasting is sound. Now he goes to a fourth condition. He says, أن يأكل ويشرب ويغلب على ظنه أن الفجر طالع فصومه صحيح. He says to eat and drink, and he is more sure than not that Fajr is in. He says, this person, even if he eats in that circumstance, his fasting is sound. There's that element of doubt in there. And he eats based on this, the Shaykh said his fasting is sound. He said the fifth condition, أن يأكل ويشرب مع التردد الذي ليس فيه رجحان. A person is now eating, he ain't certain either way. He says his fasting is correct. And if فصومه صحيح. Yani the reason that I mentioned those examples that the Shaykh rahimahullah ta'ala gave, and he goes on, was to show how lenient the Ahlul Ilm were when you have some text of the Sunnah. Yani something to support your practice and a principle on which to base your life. That you don't have to be all shaken up, taken up of whispers, moving with doubt, and you go through the day don't knowing whether you're halal or haram, or your actions are sound or invalid. Once you understand the principles that we have from the Quran and the Sunnah, it makes your life easy. The Shaykh says, what if a person eats and he's doubtful about the setting of the sun? Okay? Now, if a person is simply doubtful about the setting of the sun, the Shaykh says here, you're doubtful, you're not certain, you're not more certain or not, you know the sun is supposed to be up. You don't know if it's going down, but you're going to eat anyway. This person's fast is invalid. Why? The principle is, man, the day which you're certain about is that the day is in. That's what you're certain about. You're doubtful whether or not the sun is going down. Al-yaqeen la yazulu bishak. That certainty is not to be removed when you have simple doubt. So the Shaykh says the person who's in this case, you're going to just break it and you ain't got no ghalibul dhan, you're not more sure than doubtful. You're just doubtful and you're going to break your fast is invalid if you do that. Okay? And he says, وَالْفَرْقُ بَيْنَ مَنْ أَكَلَ شَاكًا فِي طُلُوعِ الْفَجْرِ وَمَنْ أَكَلَ شَاكًا فِي غُرُوبِ الشَّمْسِ أَنَّ الْأَوَّلْ بَانٍ عَلَى أَصْلٍ وَهُوَ بَقَاءُ اللَّيْلِ والثاني أيضا بان على أصل هو بقاء النهار فلا يجوز أن يأكل مع الشك في غروب الشمس وعليه القضاء ما لم نعلم أنه أكل بعد غروب الشمس فإن علمنا أن أكله كان بعد غروب فلا قضاء عليه.